Today we're unpacking the Hughes Associates Q2 records on the 2026 Clinical Pharmacology talent market.
Right. Our mission today is really to figure out exactly how organizations are structuring their teams and, fiercely competing for highly specialized drug development talent.
Yeah, and tell me if this resonates with what you're seeing out there. Right now, recruiting in this space, it feels a lot like trying to buy a turnkey mansion in a red-hot seller's market.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, nobody wants to buy the empty lot and build from the ground up anymore. You want the fully finished estate, and well, you have to pay a massive premium to get those keys today.
And just like real estate, buying turnkey means paying for immediate impact.
Yeah.
Clinical stage biotechs, they simply don't have a 5-year runway to train junior scientists anymore.
Which perfectly explains the baseline data we're seeing in the Hughes Associates Q2 records. About 40% of the current openings are at the director and senior director level.
Yeah, heavy senior skew.
Exactly. And 60% of this hiring is driven by biotech, with oncology completely dominating the therapeutic areas.
Well, the causality behind that specific combination is really regulatory pressure. These biotechs are dealing with incredibly complex precision medicines.
Like those antibody-drug conjugates.
Right, which are essentially targeted missiles designed to, seek out cancer cells. They need seasoned leaders who can immediately step in, influence the development strategy, and confidently sit across the table from the FDA.
Okay, but wait. I'm looking at the geographic hotspots for these hires. Boston, the San Francisco Bay Area, San Diego, and the New Jersey-Pennsylvania corridor.
The usual suspects, yeah.
Right, but I have to push back here. If we're talking about heavy data modeling and quantitative science, why on earth do these roles need to be physically sitting in traditional hubs? I mean, can't they run computer simulations from anywhere?
Well, it's because these leaders aren't just sitting in a silo crunching numbers. They're deeply embedded in cross-functional decisions.
I see.
Yeah, physical proximity to the rest of the leadership team still holds massive weight when you need to, pivot a multi-million-dollar clinical trial strategy over Tuesday morning coffee.
But because you have this talent bottlenecked in those hyper-competitive hubs, it's creating an absolute pressure cooker for compensation. So what does the baseline look like to even get these seasoned leaders to the table?
Based on the Q2 data, the median salary for a director-level position is hovering right around $275,000.
Wow.
Yeah, but base salary is just the starting line. About 70% of these biotechs are supplementing that heavily with equity.
Like stock options and RSUs.
Exactly. Plus standard annual bonuses to match the intense market demand.
And looking at the workplace flexibility data, it reflects that exact same leverage. Hybrid is the absolute standard, making up about 80% of these roles, usually requiring 2 to 3 days in the office.
Which is pretty standard now.
Right. Fully on-site is sitting at a mere 5%, and travel expectations are surprisingly modest at just 5 to 15%. So for the TA teams out there, if a company comes out and demands 5 days fully on-site, aren't they effectively pricing themselves out of 95% of the top-tier talent pool right out of the gate?
Oh, without a doubt. Demanding full on-site presence is a massive competitive disadvantage right now.
Yeah.
You simply cannot force the market backward when candidates hold this much leverage.
Okay, so for premium salaries and highly flexible hybrid setups, what exactly is the business expecting in return?
Well, they aren't just looking for traditional lab scientists anymore. We're seeing an 87% demand for PK/PD modeling and just a massive movement toward model-informed drug development, or MIDD.
Let's translate that for the HR leaders listening. What does that actually look like in practice?
Essentially, they want people who use heavy computer simulations to predict how a drug will act before it ever enters a human body.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah, so fluency in quantitative platforms like non-mem and R are suddenly non-negotiable requirements alongside emerging AI and machine learning skills, particularly in large pharma.
And then there's this requirement for matrix leadership.
Right, because biotechs are increasingly outsourcing the actual lab work to clinical research organizations, or CROs, to save capital.
So they don't actually manage the internal lab anymore.
Exactly. They need a leader who can negotiate with and manage external scientists who don't actually work for their company.
Got it. So the modern clinical pharmacology leader is essentially a bilingual translator. But translation is notoriously hard. Usually a brilliant quantitative data scientist struggles to communicate with an FDA regulator, and, a great regulatory strategist doesn't understand the underlying code in R.
And that is the unicorn they're paying $275,000 for. The person who could fluently speak both. They synthesize the raw data science, translational medicine and clinical operations into one unified business strategy.
The market is undeniably shifting towards strategic, quantitatively driven development. And if your team needs help evaluating your hiring strategy, organizational design, or workforce planning based on this intelligence, well, Hughes Associates has the specialized life sciences search capabilities to assist.
Yeah, they continuously monitor this talent movement and can really help you navigate these exact trends.
Because finding that rare combination of scientific depth and broad business impact is only going to become more vital, which leaves you with the final thought to mull over. As AI inevitably handles more and more of that baseline quantitative modeling, will the most critical skill for future clinical pharmacology leaders actually be human psychology and cross-functional negotiation?
It's a great question.
Maybe buying that turnkey mansion isn't just about the structure anymore. It's about the person holding the keys.